Well, welcome everyone to today's session. I really appreciate everyone joining us in this session. I know things are pretty crazy out there with work and everyone trying to get back to some normality, so we appreciate you spending the next hour with us. I'm in my makeshift car office at the moment. I'm traveling to Hamilton. I was so excited to get some real face-to-face time with some of my customers, so hence why it looks like I'm in the car, because I am in the car. So yes, that's my office. So just to introduce the speakers today, we've got Karen Hardy from IBM who's going to give you a riveting session around the new features and functionality on Cognos. We've got Kurt from our team that runs our data and practice manager, and myself. So I know that we have quite a few customers that are already customers that know who we are, and I know we've got some new prospects. So just today's session is around really using some of the technologies we have in the reporting space, dashboarding space, to really understand and tell that whole picture. What is the picture telling us? What's the story? What's the action points that we have from our data? What do we need to do? And I have a lot of conversations with my customers at the moment, and data, we've got data everywhere and things are changing so rapidly every day, but it's what is that call to action? What is the actual impacts of the business? What's the actions we got to take from this? So just at Mindfull, we're passionate about helping all of our customers make sense of this fast changing world. It's what gets us out of bed every day. It's what we're all very passionate about. Our values are to live it, strip it back, keep it real. We're really passionate about these three things, and all the guys at Mindfull that you deal with, you'll see that they're really passionate about what they do. They'll make things simple for you and will just help you with the expectations. So we've got three pillars of our success. We've got a data management pillar, a planning pillar, and a narrative reporting pillar. And we're really today going to be bridging this planning pillar that we have and the narrative reporting, is to say, once we've done all this amazing planning, how do we get to leverage to really get the value out of the data? So we are going to record today's session. There is going to be a takeaway at the end of the session that I'll come to a bit later on. When we do go through the session today, if you've got a question that pop up, please feel free, pop it in the question section for me and we can address it towards the end. We're going to run the session through. We're going to have Kurt present next, then Karen, and then back to myself. So really enjoy the session. Anything pops up, pop it in our question section. Like I said, we are recording the session, so we will share it with everyone else. And I'm going to pass it over to Kurt now, and we're going to turn our cameras off just to make sure we've got a lot of bandwidth for all of us. So enjoy the session. I hope you get a lot of value from it, and I'll be back towards the end of the session just to take you guys through this little delicious looking takeaway. So Kurt, I'll pass it over to yourself.
Thank you very much, Belinda. For those who don't know me, yes, my name is Kurt Richt. I'm the practice manager here at Mindfull. I'm in charge of data management and BI. And basically, I'm just going to give a little bit of an introduction before I hand over to Karen, who's really going to show you all the cool stuff in the new versions of Cognos and just show you what it does, what it can do. So what I really want to show is just lay a little bit of the ground and talk about some things that we've experienced as a company, post-COVID. I hope you can all see my screen. So some things that we experience is, one of the things is a lot more people are talking. I know myself, I've spoken to family I haven't spoken to in years. There's a lot more communication that's happening, and people are really starting to talk and integrate. And it's generally people that you wouldn't necessarily talk to. And from these discussions, people are starting to see how much data they're actually missing out on. They're actually got so much data in these companies, and the more they're talking to other departments, the more they're having these Zoom meetings and Teams meetings, they're finding out how much data is actually there. So off the back of that, I decided to create a challenge statement that I've got for today. So the challenge that I've basically said, now this is a challenge statement that I've used. It's quite vague. It could be applied to any business, or it could be used to build on something bigger. And the challenge is, how can I get the most out of my data and leverage it to understand, predict, and grow my business? And I'm going to talk a little bit to each one of those pieces, where we get the most to understand the data and to predict the data. I'm going to talk about how data kind of goes through different values, how asking the questions of understanding my data versus predicting my data, and where they can kind of lead up, and the kind of value you can get from that. Now, before I get too much into exactly how we're going to do that, one thing I'm going to talk about is your basic businesses. This is just an example made up of different departments: IT, marketing, sales, HR, finance, operations. There could be an endless number in here, but generally speaking, this is how a business looks like. And we're finding that in most of our customers, these are very siloed. Marketing is not talking to sales, IT is not talking to operations, HR is not talking to finance. We find this quite a common problem where these departments have wealth of knowledge. Each one of them are using source systems that have so much data that could really come of benefit to the others. If you had HR really inputting into operations, how much better relationship is that going to create? If you had sales inputting into marketing, if you had finance into IT, if you had kind of a place where you could really bring all these different sources together and have a centralized view and leverage off one another so that you really get that full picture, and you're able to use this amazing data that one of the other departments has to, just enrich your own data or your own systems. And this is kind of where Cognos pays. This is what it does. It takes these data from these different places. So a big one for us, we had over this COVID time, we changed the way we do our planning. We went from planning every so often to planning daily. And we use Cognos because we could then go and bring in our operations, our COO, very much looking at what's happening in operations. She was looking at the financial data, and she could kind of bring this and marry it all together. So I know from a, our own perspective, it's something that we've really embraced and something that we've managed to use to kind of bring all these departments so you get a central view and you get data that's meaningful to you. But it really allows you to get a lot more power out of your data, and that speaks to that leveraging of that data. So like I said, I'm talking about the data value. Now, when I say data value low, please, I'm not saying that it's not valuable. It's still extremely valuable. Data in itself these days is very, very valuable. I'm just talking on a scale of how we go in that data. And if we look at the first section, which is the first three, the raw data, basic reporting, and foundation analytics, this basically answers these questions. What information do I have? What happened? What is happening? Now, when I took a study and took a look at a bunch of customers, most companies have a minimum of 6 sources. Most of them have a lot more. And these are even your SMEs. They have 6 different source systems. Now, if we had to just take those 6 source systems, we could absolutely answer these questions. We could go and look at what information we have, what's in these source systems. It will tell us what's happened in our business, and it will tell us what's happening. We can have a day-to-day, we can have this live feed, and we can really answer these questions. But then you look at the next section of it, and that when we get to the descriptive analytics, the predictive and the statistical analytics, and the descriptive analytics. When we start looking at that, you get the questions, what happened and why? What will happen? What is my next step? And these are where you really get high value. But coming with that high value, that could be infinite amounts of data sources. That could be you using social media. Could you be using weather data? Like I said, it could be adding all those 6 sources together to start painting this more future picture. So you're not only looking at a day-to-day basis, but you're actually looking forward. We're actually looking what can happen. I know that a lot of guys in the planning space, they can do this, but what if you had more that could help you and assist you? What if you had, algorithms and AI that's really running in the background to really answer these questions? What happened and why? What will happen? And most importantly, what is my next step? What should I be doing? What should I be preparing for? And this is where Cognos, again, it can answer every single one of these questions. It has the capability, and Karen's really going to touch on, I think, all these points. I think she talks about this as well. You're going to see how it can really go through all of these points to show you how you get that value of going from your raw data all the way to, these infinite data sources. How do we bring it to a central place that I can show to my whole business? In a previous webinar, I just did a very sampled database. This is really just sample data that I've just put together. And it's because I want to show you where I've taken, public domain information. I've taken a sales system. I've taken data out of an inventory system. I've taken data out of an HR system. And I've kind of put it all together just so you get an idea of how I've just put this on a page. This is just my interpretation. This really could be anything that's meaningful to your business. Big one that Belinda mentioned is that this fits into planning. So this is our planning system, and this is, again, I've brought into Cognos. I have that in-depth really go look at the numbers. If I want to, I can start all the way at looking at a graph, which gives me a high level summary, and I can drill all the way down to the numbers, to the lowest level. And this is specifically talking about the financial planning, but it could be anything. This could be any source that I'm going and look at these numbers. It could be any kind of data source that we do this with. So here, for example, these guys are obviously very happy with their sales, good results, put a little bit of annotation, just show you, this is the kind of things that you could do. So just by the way, one thing I wanted to mention is this whole presentation that I've just shown you, and this is just something that I thought would be a nice little kick at it, this whole presentation I've built inside of Cognos. So if I go out of here, so I'm not using PowerPoint or everything like that, and I went to those previous scenes, these are actually live dashboards. So I'm able now to build, for example, this story where I can actually go and interrogate my data on the fly while presenting to a board. And it's all live. It's not like next time I'm going to have to do it. If I want to add new annotations, as I did in the next scene, I absolutely could do that. I could absolutely go and add new annotations to this this one, but it's all live data. So when my data changes, this will change. So I've literally gone and built this presentation that I've just shown you in a story, and this could be something that I use on a month-to-month basis. I could be showing this, every month to my board. I could be showing it to the employees, adding new annotations, because all directly connected. So this is just one little feature that I've thought I'll just show you, and it very much, kind of mimics that PowerPoint. It's got a lot more functionality that I haven't covered with, with your scenes and things like that. But yeah, so with that, hopefully I've laid a little bit of land, and I'm just going to hand it over to Karen, and she'll show you the really cool stuff with the new Cognos.
Thanks, Kurt. Hopefully the correct screen is showing.
Yep, looks good.
Thank
Yep,
you.
looks good.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. I'm based in Sydney, so it's still morning here. As Belinda said, my name's Karen Hardy. I'm a technical specialist with IBM. I'm from the data science and AI team, and I specialize in Cognos Analytics, SPSS, and Watson Studio. So really involved in all the latest technology that's coming. Our agenda today is I'm going to take you a bit through over the AI ladder, the IBM's approach to the whole business of data, a bit about smarter BI and analytics, take you through what's been introduced in Cognos over the last couple of years, a demonstration, and then talk about the deployment options before we turn back to the takeaways from Belinda. Actually made me quite hungry because I hadn't had lunch yet. So the AI ladder is IBM's approach to the journey to what we call journey to AI. In any business, we need to collect data, and we need to make that as simple as possible, maybe from a number of sources, as Kurt said. We need to organize that data, creating a trusted analytics foundation, because the findings that you get are only as good as the data that we put in. And then we need to analyze, get that insights from that data, and operationalize that. Quite often we see in companies, they will build models and build algorithms, but it's never operationalized. So we are very much about the only reason to do something is to make your business better. So today I'm concentrating on those top two rungs of the ladder. Now, AI has emerged as a catalyst for innovation in recent years. It's always interesting when we go to Gartner or any of these big exhibitions, you'll see the buzzwords. A couple of years ago, it was self-service. It was then augmented intelligence. It was artificial intelligence. But AI is well and truly now emerged as what companies want. And this has only accelerated over the last couple of months. When we look at what people want, what our C-suite want, there's a hierarchy of things with, of course, data governance and management, data science, artificial intelligence, and design thinking, and now the real key things that the C-suite is looking for. And I note that Mindfull actually did their design thinking training a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to look into that, contact them to get some information. And as Kurt said, there are a number of things that we look at in any business. What are we going to do? What's happened? Why did it happen? What should we do? What should we do next? What will happen next? How do I transform my business? And how do I integrate? And we have AI across all those sections. Now, historically, people have had specific roles in companies. You will have consumers of data, you'll have people who explore them, you have data analysts, and you'll have the very small, usually, section of data scientists. But the the things that are happening in the last couple of years and the influx of new tools to use and the lack of the ability to get good data scientists at an affordable price has led to people now having different roles. So you may have data consumers who suddenly become data analysts, or data explorers who want to become data scientists. And at IBM, we've given you the tools for you to actually switch roles as needed. Cognos has a very rich history of innovation. I actually had to Google when it started back in the late 60s, and it started with PowerPlay. It was built on a very enterprise platform with governance and security of data being key. We then developed Cognos 8, Cognos 10, and now in the last probably 4 or 5 years, Cognos 11. And that's where I came into. I actually was an acquisition from SPSS, not a Cognos user. So I came in and started as soon as Cognos 11 was developed, and have been learning and using it ever since. The future investment is that we are really embracing open source, and you'll see in our present product and in our future plans that the ability to write in Python or R or open source, bring notebooks in, being able to do specialized visualizations using open source tools is something that IBM really embraces. We're also bringing in industry-specific language so that when we build dashboards, the systems will understand the language of your industry, and machine learning. So the all-new Cognos Analytics is infused with AI, and by AI, we refer to that as augmented intelligence. It's not designed to replace human beings. It's designed to make their jobs easier and give them some science behind some of the decisions that are being made, whilst making that as simple and accessible as possible, and going beyond what a standard visualization will give you, all the while being governed and trusted. So there are 3 things that we look at in the latest Cognos Analytics. We have guided data exploration that helps you to find some patterns in the data that you may not have otherwise found. We have smarts built in that learns how you like to work and adapts the product to that. So if I ask for an automatic visualization and it's giving me bar charts, but I'd prefer column charts, once I've changed it 2 or 3 times, the system the next time will actually present a column chart. It learns how you want to work and how the person next to you wants to work and adapts to that user. And we also have an AI assistant that uses conversational language, natural language, so that you can ask questions and it's answered in language as well. One of the strengths of Cognos, however, is that it's governed and it's on one platform, which ensures that everybody has one version of the truth and they get the version that they're allowed to see. So that if they don't have the ability or the permission to see certain data, they won't see it. And the ability to really lock down your data and tailor reports for your end market, whether that be the South Island people get certain data and the North Island people only see their branches, we can actually tailor down to the cell. Gives you very strong control and governance. So when we look at preparing something for getting some insights out, there are really 4 areas that we look at. We prepare the data, we analyze that data, we create some content that we want to share out, and we want to infuse that across the organization, all using some smart AI on top. So firstly, looking at the prepare, Cognos Analytics has natural language search, so I can look for, if I look for female, it will also look for things asking about gender. If I look for marital status, it will look for words related to marital status. You actually don't have to be specific. Has some text analytics sort of running behind the scenes. We can, when we're joining data, We can also do auto joins. So Cognos Analytics will automatically pick up common keys across databases and suggest that they be the joins. And then we can prepare our data, creating calculations and setting default actions that we want to happen with that data so that it's across the board. So once I set that I want averages from this, I bring it into dashboards, and it will always be averages for every user. In the analyze section, we have data exploration. So we can ask questions, as I said before. We have advanced pattern detection. So when you ingest data into Cognos Analytics, it now runs a series of algorithms behind the scene to look what statistically valid patterns are in that data, finding insights that you may not have even suspected. We can predict things, so look at what drives certain behavior, what drives churn, what drives sales, what drives marketing uptakes, and really that AI helping you understand your data better. And some time series forecasting was brought in the last release. The visualizations and dashboards have been increased, improved in the last few releases as well. We now have automatic visualization. So if I pull data onto the dashboard, Cognos Analytics will suggest the correct visualization or the best visualizations to use. We have storytelling, as Kurt just showed. So creating a narrative that you can use to present on live data. We're bringing in new collaboration tools, so I can collaborate through Slack at the moment, and there are other things coming, and also email improvements as well. One thing that Cognos Analytics has always been strong is pixel perfect managed reporting, being able to produce that report that is burst out to your stakeholders, with each one perhaps getting a different version relating to their particular role in the company. We're now giving guided layouts to help that even be done even easier, and also allow you to reuse existing components by copying and pasting. If you get a dashboard that you like, you can copy and paste all that content into a report and then create a managed report that's burst out to your stakeholders. And then we go beyond BI. A couple of releases ago, we brought in the ability to use Jupyter notebooks using Pi and R within Cognos. So you don't have to open up another product to use some data science. You also don't have to worry about security because it is containerized, so that the whole system is governed and secure. We can create open source visualizations that maybe weren't built into the product that you've had developed outside. And of course, we integrate with our other IBM technologies, such as IBM Planning Analytics, Decision Optimization, and our data science tools. So one environment for all users, whether that be self-service, managed reporting, bursting out, administration, the ability to use data science, and to have that in one environment. So I'm just going to take you through what's been released in the last 3 releases. We actually have about 1 release a quarter. There's a new one coming out very soon, which I'll give you a preview of one of the things in that. And most of these enhancements are in reaction to our users. We have big user group. We have a site you can go and suggest changes that you'd like to see, and you can vote on things. And one of the KPIs that our offering managers have is they must look at those voting sites, and if they're not going to put something in that people want, they've got to explain why they're not putting it in. So a lot of the usability enhancements you'll see have been, we put something in, users didn't like it, we've had a look at how they worked, and we may have changed it back, or we may have added things to it. So we have a new portal in the home page. We have visualizations, new visualizations coming in every release. such as waterfall, custom visualizations. You can create your own visualizations on your desktop, and it has really cool tools for testing in Cognos Analytics before you import the whole package to that. Then it just becomes a standard visualization that your other users use. We've brought some smarts in, so we've got forecasting, we've got a KPI widget where you can compare two measures to each other. We have improved crosstabs because that's something, especially our planning analytics customers, were not completely happy with the crosstabs. A lot of that functionality that you'll see in crosstabs in planning analytics is now in Cognos Analytics. And we have the integration with Jupyter Notebooks and also Weather Company. The IBM owns the Weather Company, and we can use that now as a data source as well. In 11.5, one of the biggest changes was that we brought in the ability to map on non-geographical schematics. So whether that be a store layout, an airplane, a floor plan, whatever you can create a visual for, we can now overlay Cognos Analytics measures on that. Very important for our retail customers. We brought in dashboard to dashboard drill through, so I'll show you an example of that. You can expand members in trees, so if you want to see what the components of each variable are, you can now expand those. More cross-tab enhancements again. Some improvements to our modeling. So the word cloud you see there is actually when I'm bringing in some tables, and it's showing me what features, what things are mentioned within those tables. So I can select my retailer tables or my product tables, and it will bring those tables together. There's some improvements in the visuals. That bottom visual you see is showing how the custom tables are linked together. Some email improvements. Whitelist, you can actually just specify what domains that the report should be emailed out to. So keeping that within the company. And we can now save or burst to cloud. We know a lot of people wanted to file, do save to file of reports. That isn't available on cloud because it sort of doesn't work that way, but you can now save or burst to S3 object storage, which most major cloud providers have. 11.6, which is the last release, had some improvements in help. So over the top visual shows the knowledge center. So I can ask a question, how do I do a dashboard? It will take me immediately to the correct part of the documentation, and I can search through that. There's some more things being done on that currently. There are a number of dashboard improvements, and I'll show you some of those. We brought in support of R as well as Python. There's some new data tables. We can drill up and down in dimensionally modeled data sources, and there's some administration improvements. So what's a knowledge catalog is a way of searching through unstructured data in a huge way. You can now connect to what's a knowledge catalog with one connection, and then use the what's a knowledge catalog connections to connect to other data sources. It simplifies a lot of things and makes a lot of things more available, and you'll see a lot of work being done in that in the next couple of releases. The AI learns how you want to work, which is one thing I talked about before, and then another thing, the exploration functionality, which I will show you, used to be in the Explorer license. It's now been brought back into the user license. So giving the standard user a lot more capability to self-service. So I'm just going to switch into my Cognos Analytics. And for those of you who haven't seen Cognos Analytics, this is what it looks like. We have changed the front of this. So you'll see that there's a welcome page with how-to catalog and samples. So if you have never seen Cognos Analytics before and you're new to it, there's easy ways to learn about how to use the product. Up in the top section, we can see down the left-hand panel, I can see my content, and that's equivalent to my folders, I think it was called before. That's my personal content that nobody else can see. I have team content where I can share across findings and data across my team. I have recent, which just shows what I've recently been working on. Then down in the manage section is where my administration is done, and depending on what license I have and what permission I have will change what I can see here. I can add users, control content, etc. Down in my new section, this is where I can upload files. So I can bring in, whilst one of the things about strong things about Cognos Analytics is that we can connect to your databases, be that TM1 or your Oracle databases or anything we basically have a JDBC or a VC driver to connect to. You can also upload files, your own Excel files. So you may have a part of your company that does some market research, and you may get customer files and customer opinions from that, and you want to bring that in and have a look at it on your own, or merge that with some other customer data. You can do that here. The data module is where you can bring data in together. So I could import an Excel file, for example, which might have many spreadsheets that are linked together by customer ID. I can bring that into the data module and it will automatically link those for me. Exploration is something I'm going to show you later on. That's where we can explore the data. Notebooks is where I can open up a Jupyter notebook, which may have some text written, which might be creating new visualizations. It might be doing modeling. It might be doing a multitude of things, but any of that output I can now open in Cognos Analytics and drag that and drop that output onto my dashboard. Reporting is the pixel perfect reporting I talked about before. Storyboard is creating new storyboard, as Kurt showed you, and job is where you can organize things. Down here, I can see all my recent dashboards and things that I've been using, and there's a help version, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new dashboard. As you can see, there's a number of templates I can use, and each of these templates has easy to snap to sections within them, so I can quickly align things. I'm just going to create a blank template and select a data source. And I think I have a customer loyalty one here, which is just an Excel file. So I've got my data showing here. I've got my dashboard here that I can drag and drop onto. I can create visualizations. I can create, start off with the visualization and bring data into it, or I can just bring data into it. But I'm going to use the assistant to show me, and I just clear that so that I haven't got all my old stuff in. And I'm going to say create dashboard. So what the Cognos Analytics is doing is looking through the data, and the AI is thinking about what I might be interested in. It's found some quantities, it's found some sales totals. It's also found something that's customer lifetime value. Thinks, well, maybe she's going to be interested in that. So I quickly build a dashboard, nothing magic about that. And I can then use this as my starting point. You'll see that I've here can see a forecast because it's picked up that this is a time series. So I could say, well, I actually want to do a forecast here and turn my forecasting on. And now I get some forecasting data split by product line. So I'm not restricted just to one thing. It's not a black box though, because I can actually go in and look at the details and the accuracy and the raw, mean, square, etc. That so that I can, if I understand all this stuff, I can look at the stats behind it as well. If I want to change some of this, I can look at the fields, and I might think, well, I actually didn't want unit costs. I actually wanted, bring in my data, look at my overall sales, and I wanted to have that to be product line, and I wanted that to be, what have I got? Oh, I might just leave it as that. So I can now see that my visualization has changed. If I don't like the color of it, I can change the color palette. I can have my custom palette, and you can, so I could set one of these to be my corporate palette as well, and I could quickly end up with the visualization that I want. When I save that, you'll see that it saves as a story, and that's exactly what Kurt did. If I have these 4 dashboards, these 4 tabs, it will create a story for me from those tabs, and I can insert comments and things, but it's a live story so that when I'm presenting it, it's on the real data, as Kurt showed you before. Now I'm going to move to a dashboard that I have already created. And this dashboard is concerned with a workforce. So I'm a HR manager and I have large staff of 1,900 or so, and some of them leave us and some of them stay with us. I want to look at what is common about the people who stay with us. So how can I get more of the people I want, my employees I want to stay, and keep them? So first thing I might do is have a look at where they're located. So this is an American study. It's using lat and long to the latitude and longitude to map the distance that all my employees are from the head office. So I can drill down to that. I can get some findings. I can say, well, my goodness, they're 75 kilometres away. Those poor people have a long way to go into the office. I can look at the demographics. And all these charts are interactive. So if I want to think, I might think that, well, what high involvement? What do these people think about? They're highly involved with their jobs. What's different about them? There are 455 people. Their average age is 36.1 compared to my total. Well, they're pretty standard. I can look at the counts. I can drill down in, just look at these people. See, there's 215 of these. Everything's interactive without me having to tie this together. I then go to my retention tab, and I've got some ideas about what might be causing people to leave and to stay. And I think, well, I think it might be work-life balance, or I think it might be department. I look at research and development, and I think, well, there's a lot of people who stay with us, but over half of those people that we had have left. Who are those people? I can drill through to my report and actually see who those people were who left. And I can see that a lot of them are junior associates. So that gives me another clue. I might think, well, maybe my job level is important. And I can see that my junior associates, yes, a lot of them left. So that's my theory, is the job level, they're young, a lot of them are young, they're more likely to leave. Maybe they're just, what millennials do, and the older people are staying on. But how do I know that what I'm saying is actually statistically significant? Now you'll see on this chart, there's a little insights button. Now when Cognos Analytics finds something that's statistically significant at the 95% confidence level for those statisticians in the audience, it will put the insights button on there. And if I turn that on, it will actually tell me which things are significant. So I can see that all these changes are grayed out, so they're not statistically significant, but this one is research and development. So that's the section I was looking at. So maybe I've got some clues here. I want to go a bit further to look at, well, maybe I'm missing something else. So I can take this, turn that filter off, turn my insights off. With that selected, and go to explore. So I want to create a new exploration. And this is where the real smarts come in to help me find extra findings in the data that I might not have found otherwise. I've got my chart here. I've got a natural language interpretation of that chart. So if I don't know what things mean, I can read it in plain English. I can look up here and see what else is related. So whilst I might be looking at just work-life balance and department, Cognos Analytics is saying there are lots more things that might be related to that. So whether they had a percentage hike, the month education, these are all other things that perhaps I should be looking at. And because I'm a busy person, I might have just gone with my gut feel and not looked at those. Now, because we haven't got 3 hours to go through this entirely, I'm going to show you what the starting point for me would be. When I bring data in, the first thing that Cognos Analytics will do is find the patterns in the data, as I've said. And by selecting the thing that I'm interested in, which is retention, it is showing me which things are significantly linked to that variable. So the job role, yeah, that's there. That's what I thought. The job level's there. I thought that as well. But overtime's there, and I wonder what that has. Is it that they're given overtime or not given overtime? So I can quickly see my patterns in my data. It's awesome for doing this when you get data. At IBM, quite often people will just send me data and say, oh, can you build a demo on this? I always stick it in here and look at what the patterns are in the data as the first thing I do, because it lets me have some understanding of the data that I've never seen before. So it looks like there are a number of things in here, and I want to see how these are related. I could go and build a chart on every one of these, but that would take some time. So what I'm going to do is use the predictive capability of Cognos Analytics, choose a visualization, which is going to be my decision tree. I have targets here, so I want my target, the thing I'm trying to predict is retention. And Cognos Analytics has built me a decision tree. It's actually, for those who are interested, it would be a shade model. So I can see now that overtime, yes, overtime, no. People who didn't get overtime were more likely to stay. The green is those who were retained. So they've got lots of green here. But there are some greens down here. So how do I know which ones are important? I can select the top 5 targets for yes, people who stay with us. And I can see that those who are most likely to stay were those in manager or research roles who had not done overtime. The second one was people from these counties, human resources with no overtime, etc. Now, if I only went with overtime, though, I'd be missing this group down here, who were, yes, they got overtime. They're managers and manufacturers reps in those suburbs. So it's with predictive modeling, you're not trying to usually find what you already know. It should confirm that, but you're also looking for the things that you may have missed otherwise. Okay, so that gives me something that I can use, and I can pin that diagram. Just to add, it also gives me those rules in plain English, so I can go through and look at those and send those out. Perhaps I've got can send it to my personnel department saying we should be looking at these people because they're the people that have been leaving. Going back to my dashboard now, I can bring that result in by looking at my pins. I can edit it first. Looking at my pins and just bringing that decision tree into my visualization. Into my dashboard. I can then also build some charts that might have some filters on them that show me that I can actually use those overtime and marital status and income and the environment satisfaction, the things that were from my tree, and use those to filter down my dashboard and see who those people are that might be about to leave us. Now I've got about 10 minutes left. I'm just looking to see whether, I don't see any questions, but we'll answer those at the end if we can. And I'm just thinking about whether I've missed anything else. go back to my PowerPoint. So just to a couple of things. One thing I'm going to show you now is future plans. It's in a future release enhancement. It's due out in the next release. But if something happens terrible that we find the quality isn't there, then don't sue us if it doesn't appear in this release. It will be in the one after that. But it's pretty close to coming out, and I've been on the beta test, so it's pretty certain. So at Cognos Analytics, we thought that when web browsers and things and Cognos Analytics improved to the point where visualizations are better, that customers would be, our clients would be really happy with accessing Cognos Analytics through their browsers on their mobile. That wasn't the case. We also had a reporting app that has been existing for quite a while that was for dealing with active reports and things like that. Our customers told us they weren't very happy with that. So what we have done is created a new analytics app. We've built it from the ground up. It's specifically built for mobile. It's got proactive alerting. It's got natural language built into it, so you can ask questions of the assistant. And a very short preview is here. I've got it on my phone. It is working. We're hammering it from all over our IBM people, so I can ask policies by location. It will create the data for you, so you can have somebody create dashboards for you on Cognos Analytics on their desktop. You can look at those on the mobile. You can set which ones you want to be your front ones. You can set alerts that will let you know about if something's gone, some KPI has dropped below a certain level. You can then share that finding using Messenger or any of the messaging tools on your phone to push that through to your colleague with a link. They can comment back and away you go. It's very exciting thing that we're having there. The next innovation that we have, and this is actually out now, so you will get a link to this. And these slides are being, Mindfull will send these out, so you will have the connections and everything at the end. This is a resource area where IBMers have been creating content. It might be notebooks, it might be some sample data, it might be different dashboards, data modules, explore. Allows you to look for things that you're interested in and download those as starting points. As this gets more enriched, business partners will be contributing here, and even clients can. So if you do something really cool that you want to share with your organizations and your industries, you can actually upload things as well. But it will be security governed, so that we have to make sure that people don't put, malicious ware into things like notebooks and stuff. So it will be governed and then published. So this is a resource you can go to now and have play with. I know Kurt hadn't seen it before and he was quite excited to see it a couple of days ago. Now, the deployment options that are available on Cognos Analytics, there is a free trial that you can go to, and the link is on the last page to this. And it gives you full capabilities and you can have a play. We have client hosted, which is our on-premise, which those of you who are using Cognos Analytics are most likely using that at the moment, but it's now a cloud ready, able to be ported up to the cloud as well. So client hosted, some customers will never go to cloud because they always want everything on-prem, and it's working well for them. And unless there's a business reason to move, then my opinion is don't change. But for those who do want cloud, and this has had a huge growth since January, since COVID virus, with a lot of people working from home and needing access. So we have two modes. There's the hosted cloud, which is a dedicated environment for enterprise people who want to be able to scale. So it's one environment for your organization, and you can have multiple test, dev, etc. in there. We also have on-demand cloud service from a single user license. So this is multi-tenanted but secure, so you can't see anybody else's work and they can't see yours. And then we have Cloud Pak for Data. For those who haven't heard of Cloud Pak for Data, Cloud Pak for Data is a containerized platform which is everything built for you. So you've got all the steps of the ladder available, so from bringing databases, governance, data management tools, analysis tools, data science tools, but in one. It's all containerized, so very, very fast to deploy, whether that be on cloud or on-prem or hybrid on private cloud, public cloud, somebody else's cloud. That is available now, and you can get add-ons for the bits that you want. So the basic structure all comes with all the operating systems and everything that you need, and then you get the extra bits that you want. So today I've shown you, hopefully shown you, how we can put analytics power in the hands of business users. I just ran a predictive model. Now I happen to be qualified in stats, but my salespeople can run this, and they're definitely not qualified, usually qualified in statistics. So I can build as a business user, I can now get some insights in my data, and I can take that data, my findings, to my data scientists and say, look, I've had play with the data, and I think that we're losing staff because some of them don't like overtime and some of them do, but these are the groups that I did. Can you validate that for me? And then we'll score our customer base or our HR base or our marketing base and operationalize that. So native AI implementations. One unified environment. I only used one product there. I could have opened up notebooks without going outside. And I could have taken that report that I built into that dashboard that I built into a report without moving from that interface. With guided exploration, it's massively scalable. We have enormous users worldwide and multiple deploy. You might want on cloud, you might want on-prem, you might need a mix to suit your business. We don't force you to work one way or the other. We adapt to what you need. So the resources that we'll give you the links to, the links behind this are the Cognos homepage where you can get the free trial. We have business analytics communities that are very vibrant. Cognos Analytics on YouTube, so there are lots of training videos. In the demo tutorials and labs, you can go and have hands-on and have a look at everything I did today. It's a knowledge center, which is all documentation, requests for enhancements for current users, and this goes for current users of any IBM products. Go there, and if there's something we're not doing, suggest it, and then let us know, and we'll all vote on it. And then the Zig Accelerator Hub and a blog to tell you about the Accelerator Hub. So I think we've got 5 minutes left. I'm going to just see, Belinda, can you take that back? Cool.
Oh, sure. I've had not a lot of questions come in, so I think, Karen, I think you've blown them away, hence why we've had no questions come in. But I know it's difficult with these sessions because you're really interested in the content, hard to do some questions, but feel free to send us any questions that may pop up afterwards. So really great session. Thanks, Kurt. Thanks, Karen, for this. We've put the session on because we have a lot of planning analytics customers and TM1 customers that really want to do that extra bit of reporting and those great look and feel, and also the predictive analytics. And Cognos Analytics is just a fantastic complement on top of planning analytics to really bring all that modeling and data alive. And I've had a few customers do amazing modeling, build the best models, but unless you can visualize the results and the input, like Karen has just shown you that journey around, which are the staff that stay with us, you really need these tools to bring to light what the data is telling us. So the takeaways, as you can see there, what we're offering after the session for anyone that's interested, we're going to do a 2-hour free consulting hour, 2 hours with you, and you can use those 2 hours for us to help you build a report, help you build a dashboard, give you some feedback around your existing reports or dashboards, help you set up, help you tinker a report in Cognos, however you want to use the 2 hours. After the session, we're going to reach out to anyone that wants to take up the free 2 hours with us. We're really going to help you bring these dashboards alive. It was a really great session. I'm very excited to see all this weather data that is going to come in, all the extra data really going to use the data that we have existing to bring it alive and tell a great story. Really want to thank everyone for joining in this session. I know it's lunchtime for some of us. Kieran's about to go to lunch, so really appreciate the time. Please, afterwards, if you've got any questions, send us an email. Happy to hop on a call, and we'll be in touch to see who wants to take up this free 2 hours with us. Unless there's any other questions, we'll give everyone some minutes back in the day. Any questions? No, I think we definitely nailed it. So again, thank you everyone for joining. Hope you enjoyed the session. Really, we'll be in touch, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.